Hey guys, Aileen here from Homegrown Happiness. Today we're going to run through your February garden to-do list. Can't believe it's already the last month of summer, but I've got to admit I'm looking forward to autumn. This summer has been way too hot.
So I know I can't really complain because last summer was so terrible, but I'm like this candle, I can't handle the heat. Because of the heat, the top of my list this month is keeping my plants well watered. I water my plants about every 3 days, but I do it for a really long time, just to make sure that the water is actually reaching the roots of the plants. I also use a liquid fertilizer every week, which I make myself. On today's video, I'll show you how I make my all-round fertilizer, which includes a mixture of comfrey and seaweed. It's a really good one because every plant will love it. I start with comfrey. If you don't know what comfrey is, you really should. It's a fantastic plant. It's got a super long taproot, which gets all the nutrients from down in the soil that other plants couldn't reach, and it brings it all up into its leaves. I add these all into a big bucket along with any other weeds that I've pulled out as I'm going along. Comfrey on its own is fantastic. Super high in potassium, really good for plants that have fruits such as tomatoes or cucumbers, anything with flowers where you're harvesting the fruit afterwards. But we can make it even better by adding seaweed. This is seaweed that the kids and I collected from our local beach. I'm just giving it a quick wash because it's got a lot of salt on it obviously. So I'll wash it and then I'm going to add it to the bucket. Lastly, I fill the bucket with water until what's inside is covered. Then I move it to a place far away from the house because it'll smell, and then leave it to sit for a couple of weeks. Once it's like a dark brown colour, then it's ready. My finished liquid fertilizers I store in a container like this. To distribute my fertilizer, I buy one of these as one-off, and when it's empty I refill it. This dilutes the fertilizer really well and it saves me going up to my garden 20 times with a watering can. My garden's still cranking out the summer produce, so it's really full, but a couple of spaces have opened up, so I'm making the most of them by prepping them for autumn with a mixture I make myself. The first thing I add is leaf mold, which is just leaves that have broken down. It takes about a year to fully break down, and this was made in May, so you can see the top leaves haven't. But underneath, it's beautiful, dark, crumbly leaf mold, exactly the way it should be. This stuff is so good for your garden. I'm just showing you what I add in my mix, but you can add any organic matter in yours. Then I add worm castings, one of the most nutrient-packed fertilizers you can get, and some aged cow manure. Followed by a whole heap of compost. The top layer hasn't broken down yet, but underneath it's beautiful black gold. This mix I then put right on top of my garden. I use a deep mulching method, which means that I don't cultivate, till or work my soil. Instead I put mulch and compost right on top and I plant into that. I'll add a link in the description below if you want to know more about it. This method means that I'm not ruining the soil structure or the ecosystem that's being created under there. It means I'm not uncovering weed seeds, and because the mulch is blocking the sun, the weeds won't germinate. And if they do, just cover them with more mulch. Easy as. If you're planting any brassicas this month, it'll pay to put some netting over the plants because the white butterfly is definitely still out and about. Last on my list are my strawberry plants. They're sending out a lot of runners at the moment. So once these have rooted, I'll snip them off their parent plant and they'll become their own individual plant. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.